Hello, my name is Lanre Omotosho. This program is powered by CBI Community Network. I have a panel of four distinguished Nigerians to discuss our democracy as Nigerians. I have in my virtual studio Mr. Adetuji Adeleke. I want to welcome you.
Thank you very much.
I have Madam Mercy Sampson, popularly called Madam Mercy. You are welcome, Madam.
Thank you, sir.
I have Honorable Sheyi Ogoyenka in the studio. Honorable, you are most welcome.
Thanks so much for welcoming me to the program.
And last but not the least is Professor Lere Amusan, all the way in South Africa. I want to welcome you to this program.
Thank you very much, and I'm honored to be invited to this important program.
Together, we'll be discussing the state of our democracy from the standpoint of an average Nigerian citizen. And you see that when I introduce my guests, I am not calling them by what they have done in the community or who they are in the society, because what matters to us of this program is to see the state of our democracy as Nigerians. So my guests today are well-meaning Nigerians. They are all abroad, and they are seeing and they are interested and passionate about events going on in their homeland. So before we start, I would like to congratulate us as Nigerians on the occasion of our Democracy Day. Happy Democracy Day to everyone.
Happy Democracy Day.
This discussion will be negotiated around issues in relation to our democratic practices and national development. So, and I know that my guests today are more than competent to take a look at this and give their opinion, as Nigerians. So let's start, with democracy as a political system in Nigeria. We will discover that since 1999, when the current republic kicked off in Nigeria, a lot of things have happened. So what will you recount as benefits of our democracy? I will let Mr. Adeleke address that question.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lanre Omotosho. I appreciate you for bringing up this program, and straight to the question that you've asked. Since 1999, we have been in a situation of ups and downs. That's the way I want to look at it. There are cases when things will seem as if things are becoming good, then all of a sudden things retrogress again. And as Pella might put it, we can say one step forward, two steps backward. So in the nutshell, if you look at that math, you will see that it's more backward in terms of democracy. Some other things are moving forward. But in terms of democratic values and implementation of what democracy is supposed to be, I think it's one step forward, two steps backward. And it's a net effect of moving backward. Not because we do not want to do what is right, but because there is no unity of purpose. And why did we say 1999? Because June 12, 1999, for which we are celebrating this day, has come to symbolize the epitome of when people voted. The June 12, 1999 was a time when there were successive changes, because if you remember, it was first May 29, 1999. The handover from the military to the civilian is 1999. But for June 12, it was 1993 for the Abiola regime, which culminated in some struggles between that 1993 and that 1999.
That's right.
Because people were yearning and agitating for true democracy. So The question is, did we really have a true democracy in that 1999? Because what came about was a constitution for which many people are still arguing about. But I'll let some other members of this panel talk more about it. I don't want to own all the conversation.
Thank you. So actually, what I've seen so far is what I've heard you say so far is that the fact that we have gone one step forward and two steps backward, if I got you right.
Yes.
I could see Honorable Goyinka trying to step in while you are talking, so I will let him have his own views about that. Do you agree with Mr. Adeleke that the country has been moving a step further and then two steps backward since 1999?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. I am of the opinion that democracy as it is, in tandem to what my previous speaker has just stated, Mr. Anthony Adeleke, is not working correctly the way it's supposed to be working. In 1999, which was prior to that, in 1979 to be precise, we have an election in which President Shehu Shagari came on board, and thereafter in 1983, which was the second republic of, democracy, which was actually truncated in about 3 months, which brought up the military to come on board. So after which, in 1999, another election come, at which we are kind of like reassured that the military doesn't have any business in democracy. However, since that time is more or less like the military are now in civilian dresses.
That's right.
Which actually taking the control of the government. So the way democracy is supposed to work, I would say right now is more or less like pseudo democracy. That's the way it is. And there are ways in which you can make it to be done the right way it is being done in other countries in the world that are practicing democracy, and it's working for them.
Thank you so much. I could get some few points from you, but I will pick one of them. You talked about even our democracy not being a true democracy because we have military men in civilian dresses, right? So I would like Professor Amusa to address that area of opinion. Does that matter when it comes to democracy? Does it matter if somebody is like a former military person now in civilian, dress?
Yeah, thank you very much for the invitation to this very important program, which actually hinges on the country where we all come from. Looking into the concept of democracy itself, before I deal with the issue of military in governance in Nigeria, looking into the concept of democracy, basic or elementary definition of democracy is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people.
That's right.
Do we have a government of the people, by the people, and for the people in Nigeria? Before we talk about democracy, we need to look into the socio-economic foundation of a nation. Looking into what colonialists left for us. Poverty continues to be the order of the day. When there is poverty in the land, definitely there will be no what we call democracy, because democracy comes with economic development. When you don't have mind of your own, when somebody from my Iliogbo village is given 2,000 naira to vote for somebody without knowing what is called a political party manifesto. What I mean by imposition of democracy, I don't want to deal with what happened during the constitutional development in Nigeria, whereby some of our political elites will be taken to Ibadan, to Lagos, to London, to decide of our future without getting in touch to the grassroots level. It is only a few people that determine the constitution, either the independence constitution or Republican constitution. Now let us go back to 1990. Don't let me discuss about this, about the Second Republic, because that one has its own challenges. Now looking into is it Third Republic or Third and a Half Republic that we are contending with now? Some people believe that it is Fourth Republic. When they look into Ibrahim Babangida's regime, which some people believe that is a Third Republic, I'm not too comfortable about that. But for the purpose of this discussion, let me believe that it is Fourth Republic. Now, in this Fourth Republic, who developed the Constitution of Nigeria? What are the power given to the central government, of which is more than between 60 and 66% of the power given to the national government? If we have what we call true the world, it depends, it is environmentally determined. Now we got our so-called political independence without economic independence. Now the military came in. Military were not trained for democracy. They don't understand the language of democracy. So in such a scenario, do we expect them to perform better than what we are contending with now?
But Prof, do you
in 1999?
Prof, when I graduated from college back in Africa, I was faced with the challenge of looking for jobs. Every employer needed an experienced worker, but there was no college of experience. So now there is no college of where people go to study how to practice politics. So now, when we look at people in uniform, don't you think that some of them might also have the skills to run government, even though they have a military background?
Yeah, I quite agree with your position that there is no school for good governance. And when you look into what these military guys experience from their Jaji, NDA, you notice that they are familiar with civil military relations. That is at the theoretical level. But when it comes to the practicality of it, they believe that there may be no room for consensus building. There'll be no room for negotiation. We all experienced what happened between 1999 and 2006 or 2007 when the Odi massacre came about.
Okay. So anyway,
now the issue of we need to tell them the language they understand. Is it democratic enough?
Well, anyway, let's leave. Let's just move on with this program. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you.
I'm coming back to you. I know Mama Calabar will want to say one or two things regarding the issue of whether or not we're having true democracy in Nigeria.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Larry, for looking into this issue, this program, putting up this program for today. Actually looking at the concept of democracy, I still believe that people need to get the right to say, the decisions that affect their lives daily. And I don't think that is what is happening in Nigeria right now.
Thank you.
Yes, especially we all know what is going on now. So I don't think, but I believe people should get a say in decisions that affect their daily lives.
Thank you so very much. That is so precise. So I'll move to the next question. So at this level of our democracy, or let me put it as democratic, sovereignty, do you think that we can get to that path, the right path of productive democracy, Mr. Adeleke?
Thanks again, moderator. Democracy is based on a civilized thinking. Democracy eschews understanding amongst people and respect for one another. Democracy is based on the fact that on some fundamental principles that every vote counts and every votes are equal. There is an element of equality in democracy, and democracy is a system that tends to try to understand the populist view, take the populist position in terms of, it's a game of numbers, some will say, as how many people succumb to this idea or buy into this idea. It's about consensus, as you were saying, that let's then look, even when there are differences in opinions, there are still safeguards within the system to still let people discuss, negotiate amongst each other, to come around, makes more people or almost everybody happy. And that's what democracy is about. But when that system is those fundamental, like government by
your voice is kind of being interrupted. Something is going on.
Hello.
Anyway, I will come back to you. I want Honorable Willinka, do you think there is any hope for our democracy to thrive the way we are going?
In all honesty, without any mincing words, the way our democracy is going is nosediving. And I'm going to call a spade because there is nothing that I'm going to derive in lying or bringing political correctness into things that is affecting the lives of nothing less than 200 million people. So it's better to call a spade and tell us nothing but the truth. We are not on the right track. Starting from the election, right from grassroots up to the presidential election. Our people are so much being impoverished to the extent that giving 1,000 naira to a voter, they vote their life away for another 4 years. You see some of them being given like 5 years of clothes for them to vote, and then they will be celebrating. Is it the 5 years of clothes that he's going to wear for 4 years? So that is to tell you the extent of at which they have the current trend of the politics has so much make our people to get told that more or less like they are the mercy of the ruling elites. So how do we get our people to be emancipated? We see how democracy is being practiced all over the world. We are right here in America, and we know the way things are. There are basic necessities of life that are available here and are lacking back home. And it's not that we don't used to have some of these things in the past, let me take, for instance, pipe-borne water. Pipe-borne water is readily available everywhere, except for the villages back home there, but the major cities. But you now see the majority of our politicians, they are celebrating even digging of boreholes.
Wow.
You can see how we have actually make the entire populace to be ridiculed, to be reduced.
Anyway, thank you so much. Let me, at this time, move on to Professor Amusu. You are a professor of political science and international relations. So from the standpoint of your knowledge, do you think there is any hope for our democracy to thrive? Professor Amusu.
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. We still have some element of hope when it comes to the issue of democracy. But the only thing is to forget politics of money. As long as the highest bidder takes the vote, I cannot see where we are going. You and I were aware of what happened in 1979 when political parties were formed, though to some degree according to ethnic lines, except for a few political parties. As Mr. Lanre Omotosho is a Yoruba man, irrespective of the quality he has or irrespective of his political manifesto, is going to be voted for. Even if he steals money, he's bringing it to the community. As long as we believe in that, we have nowhere to go. And there should be a law, like in South Africa here, there is a debate which has been passed to law now, signed by the president. Any money you get outside the political party members' contribution to your electioneering campaign should be declared.
Right.
We all aware of the crisis of godfatherism and godism and godsonism, whereby a political leader, we all know them. These are the people who continue to use geopolitical location, religious affiliation, and to some degree economic attainment. To call this short, as long as we continue to hero worship money, it's going to be a mirage in Africa, in Nigeria.
Thank you so much.
So what I still believe is that we are still moving, and I believe that one day we are getting there, because when you feel the pulse of an average Nigerian, for those people they voted for, they've started to regret it. Even as recent as this morning, somebody called me that now in my state, the governor is doing a right thing. Everybody receives their salary as at when due. But the problem is that when they come for the second term, they misbehave. They make sure that they don't embark on a meaningful project, except a project that will attract international funding, of which the people from the state are going to be enslaved. So when they don't discuss all these things at the state or national level before they go to borrow, I believe our democracy is being mortgaged at the mercy of the international financial institutions. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that salient point. I got a lot of points from you. You talked about godfatherism, you talked about money politics, you talked about public awareness and all that. And I hope that we are communicating to the people in power. Mother Mercy, Mrs. Sampson, I would like you to address this the next question, which is what will you consider the missing part of our democracy the missing part of our, of our democratic structure. What are some of the factors that you think are missing that makes our democracy the way it is, rather than the way it's supposed to be?
Thank you, Mr. Larry, again. Looking at the concept of democracy, I still believe that we have hope, because that will make us move forward. So, but I also believe that power should be given to the, to the right people. Yeah, because if the right people are doing what they should be doing, everything will be centralized. Yes, because for now, what is going on, I don't think power is being centralized. Yes. So decisions should be given to those. And democracy has its own concepts. Okay. So our people should just follow, they should just follow suit and do what they should be doing.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much. That question is so critical. I mean, the missing part of our democratic practice. And I would like for every member of this panel to have a say on this. What are some of the things that we're looking at that are missing in the way we run our democracy? So I will let Honorable Muyika say something about that.
Thanks so much, sir. Just like Professor Amushan has rightly said, he stated, and based on what democracy is all about, is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Is the current government or democracy as it is being practiced currently in Nigeria the government of the people, by the people, and for the people? It is not. And why do I say this? The 1999 Constitution looks more or less like a fraud. And when it walks like a dog and it talks like a dog, it is a dog. Is every part of Nigeria feeling fully represented? There have been a whole lot of constitutional conferences where all the communiques, were they implemented to the letter? Even up to the one that ex-President Jonathan did. Here is another thing. We want people to be fully represented. Do they actually have a voice? They do not. And there are some other things that are embedded in the Constitution, like the 68 items under the concurrent list. These are ways in which we can be able to emancipate ourselves and open our economy and make the economy to work for everybody and to work for the entire country. If you are now saying that certain things has to get the approval of the federal government, more or less like in terms of power, we know that power can get a whole lot of things going. We talk about power generation, we talk about power distribution, and we talk about power transmission. Some states can actually generate power, but were they actually given the right for them to generate, to distribute, or to transmit? Look at the discos. Majority of the discos are being handed over to the ex-military men or people that have connection in power. If a state is not allowed to actually generate power and let there be various manufacturing companies that people can get employed, let people be able to work day shift, afternoon shift, night shift, to get a whole lot of people off the street and they will be gainfully employed. That is that. The other things are in terms of the natural resources that are in the soil in various states. We talk about Zamfara that has gold. Of recent, do they catch the former governor of Zamfara with some of the gold that discovered with one of his cronies in Ghana? And we said the federal government is in control. Here is one person that is actually, getting in charge and in control of all these things. So there are a whole lot of things that are wrong with our democracy. Constitution has to be fixed.
Thank you
it
so
has
very
to
much,
be straightened out.
Honorable Buinga. I know you can go on and on and on because I know
Absolutely.
you are. So if we know what is missing, then we'll be able to know how to fix it. So what are some of the critical parts of our democracy what do you consider missing in the way we practice democracy, Mr. Deleke?
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me better now.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. What I want to say is that as I started that time, it's a mindset. Democracy is based on a civilized mindset and respect for one another and equity. If you look at the American system, they built their system on the goals of the founding fathers. There is what we call the Declaration of Independence when they got independence. Look at all those things. Men's inalienable rights, that people are equal and they are looking for liberty and pursuit of happiness. Right. So that mindset matters. And if the mindset is not there, when a group of people feel they want to dominate other people, it will not work. When a group of people feel that this belongs to us, is not for all of us, in terms of resource sharing, it will not work. So it's the mindset for which the entities that are participating in that system treat one another that's very fundamental. So when people don't have a civilized mindset that respects one another, that values one another, it doesn't. When a group of people look down on the other people, it will not work. And all around the world, that's also been the problem of democracy as it's practiced, because democracy by itself, theoretically, is supposed to be based on equity. So whenever democracy is failing, you look at, is the mindset of equity there? Is the mindset of understanding and respecting the fundamental rights of people? Is it there? The inalienable rights of people, is it respected as human beings? So, and is there a background of civility that when votes are counted, they are respected? It's not like some people will go behind and write another, or some people will say they will not want to abide by that. Right. And the structures of democracy, if we look at it, there must be proper structures, because democracy also gets tested in every society. Look at America, for example. The past elections shows that democracy could be tested, but the structures are there, the institutions are there to protect what democracy stands for. Do we have that in Nigeria? Is the legislative arm working well? Are they not a rubber stamp of the executive, as many people have come to see? Is the judicial system working? Are they not a rubber stamp of the executives? Is there that independence, the separation of powers?
Yeah,
I know. Fundamental. Those structures, are they there and are they free? Do we have those liberties? And does the executive also knows their boundaries? Or the legislators, do they know their boundaries? Do they know when to step in? So that liberty to exercise the tenets of democracy is missing, and we need to put them all back together to make them work based on a civilized mindset.
Thank you so very much. If I let you loose, I know you can go on and on and on, but I still want us to address this question quickly. There is this saying that kingmakers never look like kings. And when you look at the society, Nigerian society, you see the actual manifestation of that saying. When people that put certain people in power are no longer respected. So if you look at the gap or relationship between the elected officers and the people that put them in power, how will you describe that? I will let Brother Mercy talk about this.
I don't really understand what is going on there in Nigeria. Because those people, I think they actually turned to become a dictator. Because when you give somebody power, like my brother said, they will just try to go like not even one step. So they'll go over and over and over, and now become a dictator.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I know Honorable Gunika is itchy to say something about that. So yeah. I will let you say one or two things about it, and I will switch over quickly. Honorable Gunika.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. As it is currently, this is more or less like godfatherism. Do the godfathers actually mean well for the populace? I've been in administration for the past at least about 30 years now, which I've actually held various positions in human resources management. And what it is when it comes in terms of administration, and a good administrator and a leader is for a system to succeed you, because you want a structure that will work. And to Mr. Anthony Adeleke, who actually talked about American democracy being tested, is because there is a structure. The godfatherism has actually made the democracy that we can call an actual democracy to be a mockery. It is definitely not the best for us. And why I will go a little bit further on this is just the fact that there are pacts that politicians do sign, more or less like an agreement, prior to them being elected. It starts from during the electioneering campaign and during the primaries that happens in various local government from the grassroots level. And sometimes you even see somebody that is actually winning, that has a whole lot of crowds behind him, just like option A4 that was used by Babangida then, raising the hands of a loser that you are the winner, just because you want to be part of the party administration. Whereas these godfathers know who can actually deliver.
Right.
There are instances in which, even of recent, President Buhari just stated it, that there are two governors that came to him, that he gave them 300 million. But some of these local government chairmen will sign and collect 100 million, but they will sign for 300 million.
Oh, wow.
Where does the other 200 million go?
Honorable Gunika, let me cut you right there.
All right.
Those are some of the subjects for discussion at some other time. Because of our time, I want Professor Amusa to take a look at, this morning when I woke up here, I got a lot of information online about things happening in Nigeria. Okay, let me just put it like, what are some of the challenges that you consider as threatening to our democracy at this time, the way things are going?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. I want to start from where Honorable Oluwaseyi ends. You pose a question regarding those people elected to government. Are they subscribing? Are they representing those people who put them into power? I want to say yes, they do, and they are always doing that. Now the question is, who put them into power? Is it you? Is it me? Is it our people at home? Those people who put them to power are the political parties that they represent, party loyalty. And another one is who is behind the scene, the kitchen cabinet. We've been hearing about the cabal in Nassau Rock. During the electioneering campaign, those so-called cabal, you hardly hear their names. They always their people comes to power. That is when you are going to when you are going to start seeing them. We know what is going on in this present administration. It is perhaps only the first administration between 1999 and 2006 that could be said to be fairly an independent candidate who had his own mind.
That's right.
Then we mustn't forget about the concept of no-go area, no-go area. When you appoint or elect people to come and write your constitutional assembly or something, when they are writing the constitution, you tell them that you mustn't go to this, you mustn't go to that. Where's democracy? What do we expect to be the outcome of such a document that they are going to prepare? Jonathan brought so many people together to look into the future of democracy in Nigeria. The document has never seen the light of the day because of the following: the preponderant power of the national government, as I alluded to before. And in such a situation whereby the federal is so mighty, and as much as we try to blame the national government, who is trying to hold on the power, who want to see what is going on at the grassroots level of the local government, like what my honorable said, that the government of the states in the Federation of Nigeria, they've already captured effectively of the local government. Election just conducted in Oyo State. Does it mean that there's no local government in Oyo State that has APC member as majority? But all those people who won the election, they are from one single political party. What type of democracy are we talking about? Then we equally talk about rotation system. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not too comfortable about rotation system. Does it mean that we have to use any idiot when it comes to my own geopolitical zone? Why can't we put everything on the table, try to look for the best candidate? As long as rotational system is ongoing in but it's something that we all are aware of. Then when we look into the the demarcation of Nigeria in form of how many people are coming from the north in terms of House of Representatives. What is the local Kano State, for instance, is being divided into two. Despite that, the so-called population of Kano, the present Kano, is more than the population of Lagos State. How are we going to defend that?
Anyway,
So in such a situation, I'm coming. In such a scenario, when we refuse to call a spade, the answer is going to remain the same. We can't do the same. We can't do things in the same way and expect different results. So that is Nigeria for me.
Anyway, thank you so much. I really appreciate your valued opinion on this subject. Again, I want to say thank you very much for your contribution. Let's talk about June 12th as a phenomenon, or let's call it a symbol of democracy in Nigeria as it is now. Since 2000 and I believe 94, June 12th had been remembered and celebrated and all sort of things by a section of the Nigerian people up until 2018, when the present administration officially declared it as our National Democracy Day. Sorry. Do you see any political motivation behind this decision? Especially, I will let Mr. Adeleke address that.
Hello?
Yeah. Hello?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, it was a surprise when I heard that. Even though it's a positive development in terms of recognizing what June 12 stands for, but I felt that it was a measure that came in a little bit late. But the minds of different governments are different. It's whoever is holding power. Maybe tomorrow someone else will say, we'll change this again. It will no longer be June 12 if it doesn't subscribe to the idea of June 12. And that is why we must be cautious about the way we exercise power. To those that have that believe in the ideals of June 12, they welcome it as a positive development. And if I must also say, because I also talk to other people, some feel that June 12 is also a fraud. And the way that the election was tipped aside showed that we don't have a democracy. And the way you always see people, something in Nigeria is that whatever the issue is, you will see people for and against. But what's at the background of some of these and what culminated into that? The fundamental rights of people needs to be respected. And to what Honorable Guyinka alluded, when those that put people in power, it's also about the elites trying to put people in power. And Prof. Amishan also mentioned that. Who are those that actually put people in power? Is it the people through their votes, or a group of people which some will call cabals or kingmakers are not actually the people, are not the rightful kingmakers? And all those leads into corruption, which Honorable Guyinka was saying, because they have agreements and pacts. When that system is corrupted itself, it's a problem, and it leads from one thing to the other into cases of insecurity. Because I remember after that June 12, there was that election was turned over, there were riots. So if we look at the things that happened around those times, we talk about June 12 today, and at that time, people were fighting for their rights that they cannot cast their votes, and people turn it aside. There are other riots still going on now. The young population and even the country itself is saying that there is police brutality, there is insecurity. Government is not functioning. Government is not taking its fundamental role the way it should be. It's only a small group of people that is controlling affairs to the detriment of the interests of the people. How can we begin to change that we are not at the mercy of a small group of people that wants to dominate others? So until we correct those wrongs, things will still be, and that's what the June 12 is all about. That the June 12 itself was when something bad was done. But the fact that people stood up that we will not accept this, that's why we are now celebrating that we must stand up for our rights and correct bad behaviors in governance. God help us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I mean, actually, you preempted my my next and the last question on this, but I would let every member of this panel talk about this last question. I want us to make it so brief. We'll be departing in just a few minutes, and thank you for your time. You see, June 12th, as you rightly said, Mr. Dilike, there's an irony, you know, because when we call a day that democracy was denied the people, you call it a democracy day. I mean, it's an irony, you understand? So, but my question is, if the Buhari administration is convinced that June 12th should be made our democracy day, I mean, we are talking about June 12th, 1993 now. So is it an assumption that something went wrong that the government did? Especially when we look at it from the standpoint of the fact that no government has come out openly to condemn the then administration that did, quote and unquote, the wrong thing to the entire Nigeria. I don't know if you're getting my question now. No administration, we have had different dispensations, I mean, administrations since then, but none of them has ever come out to say June 12th was an error or there was a mistake. You understand? And now this administration just came up in 2018 and say, oh, okay, we'll declare it our democracy day. How does that align with our belief, you know, about June 12th, Honorable Boyinka?
Straight to the point. I will start from the issue of Holocaust. Holocaust happened in Germany. Some people denied it, that is it actually true that the Jews were being killed or massacred? But invariably, after several years, a whole lot of nations admitted to it, and they were paying reparation fees towards it. The same thing is the injustice that actually happened in Nigeria. Going way back to 1967, when there was civil war. It was not admitted that it was Holocaust. But the people that were actually attacked, they are feeling aggrieved. And we can now see this grievance within them, to the extent a whole lot of regions are now advocating to be separated or to move to their separate ways. The same thing is the issue of June 12th, which actually happened in 1993, when the election happened under the regime of Babangida then. Interview was conducted later on, in which Babangida admitted that anything that has to do with June 12 election, if you guys even happen to want to kill anybody, come for me. That's what he stated. Because everything ended up at his desk. As a president, you need to take responsibility. No matter whichever way they have been dancing around it, they try to move it to May 29, but it doesn't fly. Everybody knows that the freest and the fairest election in Nigeria is the one that was won by the joint ticket of MKO Abiola and Babagana Kingibe, because every tribe of the country voted immensely towards this election. And they have tried to dance around it. Obasanjo came there, he spent 8 years, even though he came from Abeokuta at the same time with, from the same town with MKO Abiola. But at the same time, he denied it. He went with May 29. However, the government that came after him, Jonathan, did not also recognize that. And here we see President Buhari accepting and recognizing it as a national holiday. No matter how we dice it, this is the freest and the fairest election that we have ever got, which was June 12th. Even though the government of Buhari is trying to bring it on board and make sure that it's a national holiday, it's agreed. However, this is still a window dressing. That's the way I would see it. Because if we really want to address the people, people are aggrieved. And we know that the democracy that we are now saying that we are celebrating, which is not what people are actually looking for, doesn't want celebration, but however, like Madam Messi said, we can still get it better than what it is now. Let us fix our constitution and let us address this issue.
Thank you so very much for that contribution. I would like I said, I would like everyone to say something about this, and then we'll wrap up the program. I will switch over to Mother Mercy to address this issue of declaring, June 12th as our National Democracy Day, and what do you think about it?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Yenka and Honorable. I find June 12th as a comedic threat because just as we've all said, and we all know that I know by then I was around in Nigeria, and I knew exactly what happened. And up till today, nobody has really come out, because that was a very free election. Nobody has really come out to say, oh, this day, this is what happened. How can we really correct about what happened?
That's right.
So that is why I said it is a comedic trait, because nobody is there to hold up something that this thing happened and we want to correct this, we want this to end. And I still find it, you see, the institution of democracy, now they are trying to turn it to dictatorship. That means they are still going back to, if there was any way to annul an election by doing whatever they are doing.
And thank you so much, Mother Mercy. Actually, it's happening in every, we can see the traces even in some of the elections that we hold, even right now, when you see people forcing, trying to force certain candidates over the people, in some way, in some form, in some fraudulent way. So we have not really learned our lesson from that. It's almost the same thing. So, Professor Musa, do you, this point that is raised now about, admitting that an error actually occurred, and then what are we doing to correct that error? Even if you look at it now, you will see that the error is even being committed in a polite manner, in a polite way. When candidate will win election, somebody will go to court, and then they will carry out this jungle, whatever they call it in the court, and then they declare another person as winner. What do you have to say to this, Professor Amoson?
Hey, this is a very complex issue to discuss. The complexity of it emanates from the same Babangida we are talking about. As long as there are some kingmakers we dictate who's supposed to be where at a point in time, there's going to be a problem, and the problem will continue. Now, for those of us who are following FFK, Femi Fani-Kayode, I could remember in one of his numerous, can I call it declarations, he said that when the present president of Nigeria was in a warm-up to contest as the president of the country, he was invited with another friend of him to see him either in his Daura or in Abuja. When they were talking, the current president didn't shy away from a notion that he's not interested in the Igbo people. Because he actually said that their political leaders were eliminated by the Igbos. And the civil war was fought, and it will be very difficult for the Fulani people to forget about it. Now, when we look into the electoral calculation in Nigeria today, they are poor. Because as far as the eastern part of Nigeria is concerned, they don't have any business about it. Now, where I'm going from this brief historical analysis is that the introduction of the so-called June 12 as a public holiday is a continuation of politics from the power that be. So that the Southwesterners, they will believe that they are still very close to the Aso Rock. I don't see a sense, if we believe in rotational system, I don't see a sense why an Igbo man will not come up with the two political parties will not have an Igbo man as their presidential candidate. So the democracy day is nothing but, we're supposed to call it a demonstration day, because as I'm talking now, there's demonstration going on in Abuja.
In Abuja, yeah, that's right.
I'm here to confirm what is going on in Lagos, whereby the president of the country will address us, tell us the way forward, what the present government did for the development of the country. But so in such a scenario, June 12th is just another day to pacify a certain ethnic group in order to continuously following them. That is my take on that. Thank you.
Anyway, thank you so very much. And on that note, I want Ms. Adeleke to wrap it up, and especially, the issue of June 12th. What can we do to ensure that it doesn't repeat itself? So what does it really mean, and how can we correct the error that actually happened that time? Ms. Adeleke, I want you to wrap that up. And thank you so much, Mr. Adeleke.
Thank you so much. I will try to be brief on this. Whatever situation we find ourselves, what I can say is that let's try to make the most of it. The current situation we find ourselves is that June 12th is being declared as a democracy day, which to me, I will say that a lot of things that culminates into that have not been clearly understood or brought to limelight so that it can have a true meaning, not just for our generations that witnessed it, but for upcoming generations, that this will have a true meaning to them. And the principle behind that is finding the truth. There was a time there was a Truth and Reconciliation Commission about what happened during the Civil War. We also need to have good judicial systems and good systems that is about educating upcoming generations so that we can know our history and we will not repeat the same mistakes again. So that there won't be a case whereby people will vote again and they will knock it to the side, because it doesn't set a good precedent that we didn't know all the facts behind this. The idea behind is that we are not trying to sweep things under the carpet. we are trying to find the truth, not to try and disgrace or shame people, but for us to be able to prevent ourselves from making the same mistakes. And this is not about trading a blame game. It's about us knowing and acknowledging what we've done right and what we've done wrong, so that not only can we not repeat the same mistakes in our generation, but upcoming generations can learn from them and improve where we have failed. So the matter here is that we have a great potential ahead of us when we do things right and we address issues in ways by which it shows our genuine commitment to accept one another in unity. Because once all these things are not there and are not obvious, we will never find the true democracy that we want, or the true kind of governance and trust that will lead us into doing things together as one indivisible nation under God. Until we find that, truth is golden. Let us always try to search and find the truth, so that the truth will set us free. The truth will set us free if we know everything that was behind that, and then we can use it positively, not to blame each other, but to correct ourselves, not to shame one another, but to make ourselves better as we move forward as a nation. God help us.
Thank you so very, very much for that contribution. My viewers, it's been a wonderful time discussing the way we see our democracy in our homeland as Nigerian citizens abroad. We have condemned what my discussants call godfatherism, money politics, fundamental human rights. We want to see fundamental human rights being the right of every citizen in Nigeria. We also talked about giving power to the people. The right people. So putting the right people in power are some of the things that can move us forward as a democratic nation. We talked about even representation, and we also talked about the fact that our economy has to move away from 8-hour economy to 24-hour economy, economic system, whereby we can have people working to promote our economy all clock around. We also talked about power distribution and also our mindset. On this note, I want to thank Mr. Adetuji Adeleke for coming on this program. Mr. Adeleke, you are most welcome. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, sir.
And I also want to talk, to thank Mother Mercy, Mrs. Sampson. You're doing wonderfully well. We can feel your impact in the community. You are a great woman. Keep it up. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, and I also want to thank Honorable Seyi Ogunyinka for coming on the program. You have contributed immensely and positively to this discussion. I want to thank you for your time and your contribution. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks so much, sir. I'm highly honored to be here.
Yeah. And last but not the least is our Professor Larry Amosa, all the way in South Africa. You have always been there. We talk a lot, and then we see how things are trending in our fatherland. I thank you for coming on this program today. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I want to this world where I will be drawing curtains on this program until another time when we bring you another topic. It's my pleasure to sign off on this program, African Voices Abroad on CBI. My name is Sunday Lanre Omotosho. Thank you. I'm having a blessed day.